Hey everybody, Alex Kazor, SteelersDepot.com. Want to bring you guys a piece of news that's dominating the Steelers and NFL headlines today with Kevin Colbert's comments on Big Ben and his future. Without us doing a podcast this week, I wanted to provide this video just to give a quick commentary on my reaction and interpretation of what Colbert had to say in speaking with the media on Wednesday. I'll share some of the tweets and comments from Colbert talking about Ben and his future with the team on screen over the next couple of minutes. And obviously, his comments, if you've seen him by now, and I'm guessing you have, were fairly lukewarm and not indicative of a team that is super incredibly excited, or at least optimistic and hopeful of bringing Ben back in 2021, talking about the financial aspect of it, talking about, what kind of team can you build around Ben and how much work there has to be done to make this thing work. But I don't want to overreact to the news either because I don't know really anything Colbert said there, although it seemed more somber, I guess maybe is the right word, than expected. I don't think anything he said was really brand new information. It appears that Colbert's comments primarily didn't focus on, Ben as a player and if he can play, and a little bit Colbert seemed to touch on in terms of Ben as the quarterback, seemed to be optimistic and, positive in terms of the job that he's done coming off elbow surgery, which is consistent with what the rest of the team has said. The concern, though, seem to focus solely on the financial situation of it all, which isn't a surprise. None of that's new information. Art Rooney, right after the season, said that you cannot play Ben on this $41 million cap charge, and he's correct. You can't do it. It's not a tenable situation. You have to redo that contract in some form or fashion to be able to navigate this cap situation because you have a combination of the highest cap charge in the league for a quarterback coupled with this unprecedented cap situation of the cap decreasing potentially significantly and the Steelers still working off the $175 million floor that they have to go off right now until we know of what the cap number is actually going to be. So none of that is new information, and it's going to take a lot of work to be able to come up with a way to lower Ben's cap number. And there's different ways that it could be done. We've talked about over on Steelers Depot, avoidable extensions, potential of a pay cut, although I think that's still less likely. And then if you do want to do the avoidable extension, how does that look and all the different ways that it can be structured. So there's a lot to wade through. And I think that's what Colbert is getting at here is without knowing the cap number, with knowing that Ben's cap situation, current cap charge is just not sustainable to build a team around. There is a lot of uncertainty right now in the situation. So I guess that's really my overall takeaway from what Colbert had to say. We know that Ben can't play at his current cap charge. We know that Ben wants to come back and play, and we know the Steelers don't have a great feel for where their cap situation is going to be at. We know they're not going to be in tremendous shape. It's just a question of how bad are things going to be if the cap comes in 185, 190 million. They're not going to be in too terrible shape. Knowing some of the moves that they can make, knowing Pouncey's retirement saves them about 6 to 7 million dollars. So I think that's just reflective of the financial climate more so than anything about Ben's play or future with the team in terms of an on-field standpoint. Now, obviously, what Colbert said, I mean, you'd be blind to say that this was a positive sign for Ben's chances to return in 2021, and I've been very steadfast and adamant that Ben will return. I can come off of that a little bit, but I still think it's just, Colbert saying the obvious that there's a lot to work through contractually, financially, and without having a cap number set yet, it's hard to know exactly what this team has to do to make it all work. So we'll find out here in a couple of weeks. Steelers have until March 20th, the third day of the new league year, when Ben's roster bonus is due. So a situation or the resolution of the situation will be done before then. Obviously, Ben has no intentions to retire. If the Steelers don't want him back or don't think they can bring him back financially, that creates a very interesting situation where we'll see what happens. But I still think they're going to figure out a way to get things done. There was a report from Jeremy Fowler a couple of days ago that said everyone he talked to within the Steelers organization believes that Ben will come back. I think it's just Colbert really just understanding the gravity of this financial mess that this team is in right now, and they have to kind of really figure this thing out. And they haven't even started negotiating yet, so it's not like they're talking about finances and not able to make it work and saying, "Well, we've tried, we've discussed the negotiation of the contract, and we just don't see a path forward." So it's not like it's even gotten to that point yet. They did meet apparently this week, Colbert and Rooney and Tomlin and Ben. I'm not sure exactly what to discuss. I guess just talk about just the future and how difficult things are going to be, but they haven't even gotten into a negotiation yet. So unless the Steelers just want to say we're moving on, we're not even going to try to negotiate or talk finances, then that still has to happen and I still think there'll be a resolution there because Ben wants and is open to doing some sort of contract restructure in order to come back. And I think the Steelers will still find a way to make it happen. Because again, if you look at what Dave Bryan wrote the other day, a couple weeks ago, I guess it actually probably would have been that if you cut Ben or if you restructure him, you only save about $4 million by cutting him as opposed to doing this voidable year restructure or extension, I should say. So it's not like it's really saving you a lot of money when you look at it from that perspective. So it'll be interesting. Colbert's comments certainly more negative than I expected, but I don't think that has closed the door on Ben coming back as some people may think. But a lot to talk about, a lot to watch for in about just the next month or so. March 20th is going to be the key date, and the new league year starts on March 17th, exactly 1 month from today. So a lot to keep an eye on. We certainly will over on Steelers Depot. Let me know your thoughts on Ben below. Will he come back? Should he come back? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll talk to you soon.